What message are we sending to Generation Z? I was stunned by an NPR report recently. In fact, I didn't know whether to chuckle or grieve our snowflake generation. And it's not the kids, it's the adults. Along with hand sanitizer and other disinfectants, toilet tissue has become increasingly hard to find at local markets as people stock up during the global pandemic. Police in Newport, Oregon posted a Facebook message to the citizens in their area, and I quote, "It's hard to believe that we even have to post this. Do not call 911 just because you ran out of toilet paper. You will survive without our assistance." Yep, folks are calling 911 when they run out of toilet paper, not unlike the woman a few years ago who called 911 when McDonald's ran out of chicken nuggets. It's crazy. What are we thinking? Two moms recently squabbled over paper towel packages at a local grocery store in Atlanta. Their children watched their immature behavior until a clerk broke up the fight. In one part of San Diego, police are stopping senior citizens, taking a walk outside and escorting them quickly to their home. After all, adults can't police themselves, right? And if you think these incidents are normal, it only reveals how much we bought into the current narrative of our culture. Our anxiety is spreading like wildfire. And what's even more contagious than the coronavirus in our country right now is fear. It's infectious, and I believe it's doing more damage overall to kids than a virus is. Sadly, they're catching our anxiety. We panic far too easy. We fall into a scarcity mindset. We make mountains out of molehills, and it's not helping the mental health of our youth. So what message is shaping our kids? Well, what influences us most is not so much what happens to us, but the narrative we embrace from what happens. Northwestern University psychologist Dan McAdams is an expert on a concept he calls narrative identity. McAdams describes narrative identity as an internalized story that you create about yourself, your own personal myth. And today, it's much more anxious, even paranoid. Past generations have gone through worse times, but carried a can-do attitude. Today, we are far more emotionally fragile. Much smaller hardships can send us into a tailspin, according to Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt in their book, The Coddling of the American Mind. So let me give you 3 questions to ask yourself when leading your kids. 1, check your motive. Is it worry or wisdom that you're communicating to them? Motives can be seen by young people. They know when a teacher is frustrated or when a mom is paranoid. Sometimes it comes out in our words. We say things like, "Don't go outside, I don't want you catching that virus and going to the emergency room." Or kids watch us hoard toilet paper like it's going out of style to the point that grocery stores now must limit the volume customers can actually buy. This stockpiling is not only unnecessary, according to doctors, it relays kids our worry-based leadership. There's no evidence that children are more prone to contracting COVID-19, according to the CDC. And in fact, the Washington Post reported one of the few mercies of the spreading coronavirus is that it leaves kids usually untouched. 2, check your foundation. Is it fear or facts upon which you base your conclusions? In other words, are your conclusions based upon hyper-broadcast or social media posts that create clickbait for viewers rather than accurate information? Do you buy into an anxious speculation rather than accurate information? The U.S. Surgeon General tweeted recently, "Seriously, people, stop buying masks. They're not effective in preventing general public from catching coronavirus. And if healthcare providers can't get to them to care for sick patients, it puts them and our communities at risk." We are either going to produce kids who are poised or paranoid based on our example. And the Washington Post says the virus may be novel, but you really don't need to buy anything new or special to brace for it. Experts say the most important aspect of preparedness costs nothing at all: calm. Number 3, check your advice. Is it based upon panic or principles when you lead kids? When we don't possess a set of principles by which we lead, teach, or parent our kids, we tend to be reactionary. And in today's environment, that means we often panic based on the anxiety happening all around us. We catch it, and then our kids catch it from us. "Don't panic," said Timothy Brewer, professor of medicine at UCLA. There's no value in panicking or telling people to be afraid. Don't let fear and emotion drive the response to this virus. We must always ask ourselves, what message do my leadership communicate to the kids who follow me? If you'd like free conversation starters for you and your kids during this time of social distancing, just go to growingleaders.com/homechats. That's growingleaders.com/homechats.